So the first most common mistake that students make when using this citation style is the general formatting of your paper. So the most common mistakes here have to do with the running head and page numbers. So all too often students put the running head here instead of in the header where it's supposed to be. The easiest way to fix this mistake is by putting your cursor over the header, double-clicking to open the header, making sure this section right here, different first page, is checked, and then writing your running head here. As well, you're going to be inserting page numbers, so if you press tab twice until it goes over and put a 1 in, that takes care of that. So later on, when you're down here in this part of your paper, then you can just write the title and insert page numbers like so, and make sure that these are on the top right section. So you see the difference? So there's running head here, page number 1 here, scrolling down, your title is here, and then your page number here. Yeah, so just always make sure that your running head is aligned left, your page numbers are aligned right. All your paragraphs need to be indented, and make sure you are using size 12 Times New Roman font. For the sake of this video, we'll keep it at size 28 so that you guys can see what I'm doing, but yeah, for the most part, those are the issues with general formatting. So moving on, we're going to do in-text citations. This is the second most common mistake that students make, and these are the citations that are used in the actual body of your paper, not your reference list, just to clarify. So the first mistake is that students will see a citation, what's our last name I can use, like so, and then the next time they do it, so correctly after 3 or more authors, when you, in the next citation, want to do et al., they will do this. So in this instance, this lovely little period here is in the wrong spot. To do this correctly, the period goes after the all, not after the et. So that's a really, really common mistake, and I sort of combined it here with the second most common mistake from in-text citations, which is citing 3 or more authors continuously. So you shouldn't have, for example, Smith, Thatcher, and Gray throughout your whole paper, but after the first citation of these 3, there should be an ampersand, it should transition to look like this one. As well, another mistake is that some people will do this, wherein there's no comma right here. So the correct version would look like this. There should always be a comma after the author's last name and before the year. The last mistake that people make very commonly is doing this. So in APA, we don't use the word and when we are citing. It should look like this, using what is known as an ampersand. So it should be this symbol, not the comma, or not, sorry, not the comma, not the and, just to clarify. Our third error is the reference list. So let's start a new page for this. So for starters, in APA, a reference list is not called a bibliography. It's not called a works cited. It is simply called references. So no works cited, no bibliography. Works cited is MLA and bibliography is outdated. So the biggest mistakes with this is, again, formatting. So each reference that you have should be double spaced. So let's do Smith, Thatcher, So let's just pretend that that's that, and we're missing a few details, but I just simply made that up. So let's say we have a second reference here, and let's say this is by Sloan. What's another common last name? We'll just do the same ones, Gray and Smith. Let's change from 2007. So, for example, like that. So what some people will do is that. So the double space is incorrectly put as a line space and not a content space. So these are the ones that should be double spaced, not in between, the actual citations themselves. There should be a single space in between. So the other thing that's wrong with this is that these both need to have a hanging indent for APA. So to fix this, we're going to go up to Format, Paragraph, Special, Hanging, which is at 1.27 centimeters if you just want to type it. Press OK, and then we have our hanging indent. So the last thing that people do as an error with a reference list is adding references either intentionally or unintentionally that they did not use. So let's say I did not use this citation, this one right here. If I left this in here, this would be called padding my references or padding my reference list, and this would be academic misconduct. This is definitely something that you don't want to do. I know that sometimes professors have strict requirements for what they want or how many citations they want you to have, but don't do this because this can get you into a lot of trouble. Just make sure you only cite the ones that you've used. Stay out of trouble. So the fourth most common error that people make in using APA style has to do with quotations. When you're quoting someone, you always have to make sure that you're properly formatting and citing your quote. So the most common mistakes are either having a direct quote that's smaller than 40 words and not having quotation marks around it. So for example, saying, so if I have this quote here, and it says, Smith 2006 says that medicine is the best thing to ever happen to the human race. If this is a direct quote, we need to have quotation marks to denote that this is a direct quote from this person. If your quote is over 40 words, then it needs to be a block quote. So it would look a little bit more like, like this. It says that indented like a paragraph, like this. So just for the sake of, because I don't actually have a 40-word quote, it would look like this. All of it would be in one block like this, and then the next sentence would start back where this one is. So medicine, blah, 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 carry on, carry on. So the last one that we have, take our quote again, is not including the page number quotation. So if you're quoting directly from a book or a source, you need to have the page number. So in this instance, you can just put the page number at the end like that. Or if you're doing a quotation like that, you can do Smith, 2006, the year, and then page 2. So the direct quote would be, let's say, professionals view medicine highly. And then we have our quote, we have our author here, our year here, and our page number here.